You tuned into the right place. Welcome to the rain. Golden Cuey. H2.0. Yeah. Yeah. You're looking for a diamond, found a treasure in the rough. Tired of all the noise, cause you finally had enough. I'm here to build a movement on a mission for the nation. Dropping gems of knowledge, killing all the hesitation. We fighting for the truth, yeah, we fighting for what's right. Building unity and shining up a brand new light. It's a variety channel, but the vision's crystal clear. Pushing us all forward, conquering the doubt and fear. Welcome to the Queendom, H2.0 on your screen, where the content's real and smart and funny in between. This is more than just a stream, it's a platform for the change. Time to elevate the game and realize. If you're ready for a vibe that you can feel and trust, joining in the movement is a definite must. This ain't just another channel talking smack behind the screen. It's a spotlight for the creators, building up a better scene. Spreading radical love, that's the message in the code. Helping everybody carry up a heavy load. From social justice issues to the laughter that we need. Planting seeds of progress, watch them grow from just a seed. This is authentic, this is raw, this is everything you saw. Welcome to the battle that is truly being fought. Ooh, so come with your respect and see the real effect. Cause I protect my own right here on the throne. Don't make me envy. Unleash the dragon. Subscribe, ring that notification bell. Yeah, you don't wanna miss a thing. Welcome to the family. Yeah.
Where the promise of tomorrow feels like something that has died. The mind is fragile, bend beneath the weight of grief. Instability is shattered, stolen like a thief. For those who lost a loved one to the headlines and the fear. For those who feel a panic of a coming empty year. Your pain is not invisible, your struggle is profound. You stand upon this broken, hollow ground. When the world system trembles and the power to this watch, and hope is just a whisper in the darkest city patch. Where do we turn when the foundation starts to crack? We look to the horizon, there is no turning back. The spirit whispers gently, a truth you must recall. The deepest hope is the one that won't let you fall.
We are the living proof, surviving every blow. The seed of grace God planted, where the bitter waters flow.
You carry a light that cannot be extinguished by the tide. A deep anchor of grace planted far inside. So stand up tall, wounded one, don't let the shadows win. The battle for your bright tomorrow starts right where you've been. You have the strength to mend the forever that was torn. Rise up, precious torn. Rise up, precious soul. So for a brighter day is born.
Brighter day is
For a brighter day is born.
brighter day is born.
Yeah. This fight is for the children breathing air they can't afford, for the land that's been neglected and the truth that's been ignored. We pray for peace, but peace demands we challenge every wall and stand with those who have no voice so they don't have to crawl. The comfort of the church must spill into the street, and healing must be justice for the victims that we meet. The work is hard, the journey long, the future is unclear, but the kingdom is approaching, wiping every tear.
We are the living proof, surviving every blow. The seed of grace God planted within us, waters flow.
You carry a light that cannot be extinguished by the tide. A deep anchor of grace planted far inside. So stand up tall, wounded one, don't let the shadows win. The battle for your bright tomorrow starts right where you've been. You have the strength to mend. That was be the witness, let your action be the proof that every single broken life deserves a second roof. We will build it with our faith, we will craft it with our hands. A new creation rising up in every nation, in every land. You are not alone. The aching holds. You have the power to rise. Take back your mind. Take back your joy. Rise up, rise. A pride is in your joy. A pride is in your hands. The pride is celebration.
What's up? What's up? It's your girl Golden. I'm back, y'all, with another live and another video to bring to y'all. So there's been a few things going on, y'all. The streets is getting crazy. Okay, it's getting real spooky. There's a lot of violence that's happening. But you know, y'all may or may have not seen some of these things or these news reports. And so I'm gonna show y'all just a few things that I've seen that you know, it's a little bit off-putting. You know, you don't like to see these type of things happening, and it's not just here, to be clear, in the United States where I live. Now things are happening all over the world, like globally. Not that they weren't before, they always have, but now we have a lens on it because we have connectivity, and we're now more so alert and alarmed when things are actually happening in other countries all over this globe. So things is getting spooky, things is getting crazy, things are getting violent. We want to send prayers and well wishes out, because y'all will see after we get into some of these videos exactly what's going on. Okay, there is a lot of let's just say respectfully, crime and violence. Okay, we got to be real about what it is. It's crime and it's violence, and it's happening all over. We'll get into that in just a moment. But what's up? Okay, it's about 4:30 p.m. here Eastern time in the U.S. in the Carolinas. It is cold, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all for real right now. It's cold outside. So, and where I stay at in North Carolina right now, it's cold. And I have found out that back home, where I'm from, New Jersey, and like, you know, areas like New York and Philly, they even got snow right now already. So it's cold. Like they, you know, child, it's cold out here. We tired of being cold. Oh, I have a song that's called Tired of Being Cold. But anyway, yeah, it's cold, y'all. So I ain't really been outside like that. Just to run regular errands, like check the mail and take out the trash. That's all I've been doing when it comes to going outside in this cold weather, because I don't like being out in the cold really too much either. I can deal with it, I can handle it, but you know, you don't really want to be out there. But it's been a pretty decent day. Aside from the weather being cold, it's been a pretty decent day. I'm having a good day, you know, me and my peoples and stuff, we all right. So that's a blessing. Some people Can't say that. Them and their peoples is not I, and they going through things. And so, I put that song on in the beginning of the live or whatnot that I wrote up because we're going through a lot. People are going through a lot. Like, and you never know what your breaking point could be. You never know what is too much weight on somebody's shoulders. And so, I think we need to just pay attention to that and have empathy that people are really out here going through. You know what I mean? Like, I just talked to one of my friends and she going through. And it ain't nobody business as far as what it is, but she going through. And so, yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into this, y'all. Let me stop being ghetto. So, as I report like a professional, let's get into this live and let me let y'all know what we're talking about. So, we are tracking 4 major active news stories across the globe, focusing strictly on some latest information that has been now produced from law enforcement and the court system. So, we're going to be getting into, if y'all have heard, and trigger warning, the Brown University investigation update. If you have not been sure about what's going on, in Providence of Rhode Island, the investigation into the recent tragic event on or near the Brown University campus has taken a significant turn. A person of interest who was detained in connection with the incident that resulted in 2 unalivings and several injuries has now been released. Officials stated that evidence gathered now new points in the investigation in a different direction, leaving law enforcement currently without a known suspect. Authorities have pledged have redoubled their efforts to canvass for video surveillance right around the campus. The Attorney General acknowledged that this news is likely to cause fresh anxiety, meaning get people riled up all over again in the community. And the officials have emphasized that there is currently no recommendation or a shelter-in-place order. We'll get into a little bit of that. We also will hear some from students from Brown University and how they feel after the incident. We also will be diving into a Hollywood family unaliving case. So in Los Angeles, if y'all haven't heard yet, a tragic incident has led to the unaliving investigation involving director Rob Reiner and his wife, Michele Reiner, who were both found unalived at their home. Their son, Nick Reiner, is currently in police custody. The Los Angeles Police Department Robbery Unaliving Division is leading the investigation into the apparent unaliving. We respect the family's request for privacy at this difficult situation, so we will not be speaking too much on it other than what news reports, have put out. It's just as far as letting us know what has happened, and we will continue to follow the official updates regarding some of the legal proceedings that will come with this. Also, Australia terror attack status. Excuse my language. And allegedly, if that's what they want us to say, and all the things they want you to say, child. But this is what it was, okay? In Sydney, Australia, authorities have designated the recent mass powwowing at the Bondi Beach area, which tragically unalived 15 people, as an act of what they are calling terrorism. Not my words, theirs. The suspected attackers have been identified as a father and a son duo. One suspect was fatally wounded by police authorities, while the 24-year-old son remains in the hospital and is expected to face criminal charges. Officials are investigating whether legally obtained pows or firearms were used in the brutal attack and are looking into the possible extremist ideologies that motivated this act of violence against the community. And then for a little bonus, y'all, we will talk a little bit about Chrisean Rock and some of her legal challenges. Okay, so if y'all have not heard, the ongoing legal status of reality star Chrisean Rock is in the air following an alleged assault incident that happened in Los Angeles late last year. The star was sentenced to a jail time and probation after entering a no contest plea. Y'all know Chrisean be having stuff going on. Okay, she stays into a lot of trouble, and it's unfortunate for her. But y'all, I have a video that I'm gonna show y'all as far as what has happened with Chrisean recently, and I do have some thoughts and feelings on it. So we'll get into all of that. We'll be real and truthful with our commentary on all of these things, and I will let y'all know exactly what is going on. But we're gonna go ahead and get into. Let's start with Brown University. Okay, so Brown University, we have, unfortunately, a active shooter was on the campus, and there were some things that went down. We have students that are speaking out and how they feel after the shooting. Okay, or pow-powing, or however we're supposed to say it these days. Okay, but we're going to get into what the actual reports are and what some people and students are saying and how they feel after this event. So let's go ahead and get into y'all give me just a second. I'm trying to get everything set up to get this video up here, or I could just do audio only. Let me see. Give me just a second. This is a news reporting, so let me go ahead and show this to y'all real quick. This is coming from MS Now, okay, news. So let's go ahead and play this video so y'all can get a little bit of insight as to what's going on.
We are back following the breaking news from Brown University, and a manhunt for a suspect in Saturday's deadly shooting is now back underway after authorities released the man that they had previously identified as a person of interest, now saying there is no basis to consider him a suspect. Providence Mayor Britt Smiley acknowledged the news could cause fresh anxiety on campus, but said law enforcement does not believe there's any immediate threat to the Brown community and Providence residents. Let's bring in Ian Ritter. He's a junior at Brown and has been covering the shooting as a reporter for the school's paper, the Brown Daily Herald. Ian, a couple of hats here. I know this is hitting you personally, as well as you're trying to do your job as a reporter. There's no suspect right now and no longer a person of interest in custody. What's the temperature among students given that news?
Yeah, so I think that the biggest thing that students are really looking for right now is information. They really want to know what happened, and that's something that we can't really answer right now. Originally, like, texts I was getting were like, do we know who this was? Do we know like what things are going to look like? When is campus going to reopen? Because students on Saturday were locked down in buildings for 8+ hours. And now that campus is no longer under a shelter-in-place order, I think students are really trying to pick up the pieces and just maybe even go home because finals are now canceled. So I think that everybody right now is just kind of unsure about what to think.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you personally feel safe?
Well, I personally was not on campus when the shooting occurred. I had already returned home for the holidays. So at home, yes, I do feel safe. Yeah. I think on campus, students are really unsure what to feel. Last night, for example, their students believed that they had heard gunshots again. Those claims were found to be unfounded. But students on campus are really nervous because nobody is in custody and the person of interest was obviously released. So there's no evidence pointing to that person of interest now, who is now released, but it's really unclear who they're even looking for from what we've heard.
You told MS Now yesterday that you had spoken with one of the victims, Spencer Yang,
Yes.
who was shot. How's he doing? And what did he share with you about what happened?
Yeah, so I haven't spoken with him extensively since I first chatted with him when he was in the hospital. But as I was speaking with him, he had told me that he was in an economics review session when the shooter came into the room. A ton of students had rushed to the front of the room to try and hide, but he did not make it to the front of the room, so he was hiding between seats when he was shot in the leg. He had said that he was more okay than the other students. He was helping other students around him and was able to walk out of the building afterwards with the assistance of a police officer, and then was taken in a police vehicle to the hospital. So when I spoke with him, he was stable, he was coherent, he seemed pretty even. But I think at this point, I think it's now figuring out exactly what happened. And when I texted him again yesterday, I believe that he no longer really wanted to share much more because it's just really unclear what much more is even happening.
I know that police are likely trying to interview those victims like Spencer too, to try to understand who they're looking for. Did he say anything about this person saying anything or what this person looked like?
Yeah, so we've heard that this person yelled something when they entered the room, but of all students that we've spoken to, nobody could really make out what that was. They were busy hiding, and they were hearing the gunshots over whatever this was. Additionally, Spencer told me that he didn't get a look at the person at all because he just heard gunshots and ducked immediately. So from what we've heard, we've only seen what the police have released of supposed video footage of this person leaving the building. But beyond that man dressed in black, we really don't know anything else. No students got a good look at him from what we've heard thus far.
Ian Ritter, thank you for helping us understand what went down at Brown University, your college. Thank you for joining us today. Our hearts are with you and the whole community of Brown University.
All right, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and get into this second video now of this is a student that is doing an interview and speaking out after the initial tragedy that happened at the college, and how students are feeling, directly from themselves a day after all of this went down. And so it is a bit of a trigger warning. Viewer discretion is advised. If, any of these things brings any type of trigger to you, just be mindful. Yes, we're reporting on what the news is reporting, what happened, what went down. In these footages, you're not going to see anything in live, living color action as to what happened, but you will hear how some of these students feel. And as you heard from that one student that was just previously interviewed, you can see that a lot of students that, they feel a way about this. And the school structure and system has decided to shut the school down due to this. And so this will be taking students and academics, to a pause or whatnot, right? Because of this issue. And, this is going to be affecting, their education, their school time, all of those things. This is typically what happens with these type of events. Things get paused, set back for security purposes. We understand, but it can be very frustrating, when things get delayed, you have to catch up and all these things like that. So if you've ever been part of something like this, or, been at a school or a facility that's had something like this happen, you can understand how fearful it can make you as a student and how also stressful it can also make you when you are trying to just, get your academics done, in the school. But you have to make sure you're safe. So here we go. We'll listen to some of this. This is from the platform Democracy Now! So let's get into it. We'll be right back.
democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman. A manhunt's continuing in Rhode Island after a deadly mass shooting at Brown University left 2 students dead, 9 others injured. A person of interest had been detained but was released last night. In a statement on Sunday night, Brown officials said, quote, local police have advised they do not believe there's any immediate threat to Brown or the local community, unquote. The shooting occurred on Saturday shortly after 4 p.m. when a masked gunman opened fire inside a lecture hall filled with about 60 students. The campus was placed on lockdown as a manhunt began. 12 hours later, a suspect was detained near the Providence airport in a hotel. According to the Gun Violence Archive, there have been 391 mass shootings this year, including at least 75 school shootings. This is Edward Wu, a junior at Brown.
I think absolutely this is a huge wake-up call for everybody that has been affected and just everybody in the country in general. I think gun violence is a huge issue, and this is truly so tragic that we're seeing these events happen over and over again. And so I think something definitely needs to be done. What that may be, I think, is something to be figured out. It's obviously a very difficult situation. I truly hope that, we can figure something out.
At least 2 students at Brown had survived school shootings when they were younger. This is 20-year-old Zoe Weissman. In 2018, she was in the middle school next to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, where a former student opened fire, killing 17 students in Parkland, Florida.
I have friends who survived the shooting in Oxford High School in Michigan, and then went on to Michigan State University and then survived the shooting there. So I already knew that this was something that could happen. But again, you always have this naive belief that like, oh, well, it won't happen to me. And obviously it has. And now there's more kids like myself who've been through 2 school shootings. And I think that's kind of just representative of the situation that the inaction of Congress has put us in.
We're joined now by 21-year-old Brown University junior Mia Tretta. In 2019, she was shot in the stomach during a school shooting in Saugus High School in Santa Clarita, California. Her best friend, Dominic Blackwell, was one of the 2 students who died in that attack. Mia has been an advocate to reduce gun violence ever since. She worked with Everytown for gun safety, later joined the advisory board of Students Demand Action. She's joining us now from Providence. Mia, our deepest condolences on what has happened to your community, the 2 dead students and the 9, most of whom are critically injured in the hospital. Can you talk about what took place at Brown?
Yeah, I mean, I thankfully was in my dorm at the time of the shooting. I was studying with a friend, but we got one text from another friend who wasn't there, basically saying there's an active shooter alarm going off in Barrison Holly, the engineering building. And pretty much as soon as we got that text, hundreds started rolling in. And they kind of didn't stop for the coming hours. I was there in my dorm from the time of the shooting, all throughout lockdown. The lockdown was lifted around 9 a.m. the next morning. And I mean, I was thankfully in my dorm where I had food and water and I had my own things, but I had friends who were in basements alone. I had friends all across campus in library hallways that they couldn't leave or stairwells. So it was just kind of a terrifying and confusing experience for everyone, especially when there was just kind of this lack of information. And when there's a lack of information, rumors start. And, we felt a lot more security in our campus as soon as we found out that the shooter had been detained. But obviously that's not the case anymore. So now it's just kind of back to this state of confusion and uncertainty. Not sure if we're fully safe. There's just so much going on. And especially with the lockdown lasting so many hours.
Mia, I just want to thank you for coming on this broadcast. I can't imagine what you are going through and how this has triggered what you have gone through in the past. And I hate to do this, but I wanted to ask you to, since you've been so eloquent and brave over these last few years, since you survived yet another mass shooting. This was when you were a freshman at Saugus High School in 2019. If you can talk about how you're doing right now through this. I assume you are just operating on adrenaline at this point. I mean, you're still in Providence. Even though school, right, has been canceled now, all classes, all tests, kids are just going home.
Yeah, I came to Brown as someone who was shot in the stomach at 15 years old. And when something as horrific and terrifying as a school shooting happens to you, you want to find as much sense of safety as possible. Because at least for me, it was, you know, my entire innocence, my childhood was taken from me by someone I didn't even know. And a big reason I chose Brown was because of the safety I felt on campus, the community I felt, the fact that Rhode Island is a blue state that, you know, values gun laws. All of these things are reasons I chose Brown. And there's this naive thought that it'll never be me, it'll never be me, and something that I, of course, thought before my first shooting, and now kind of had to reassure myself that it will never happen again. But now, a shooting being right here, 2 blocks away at my school, within my community, this place that I've kind of come to feel safe, it's kind of mind-boggling. And unfortunately, we know that every single act of gun violence is 100% preventable. And this happened, and my shooting at Saugus High School happened because of decades and years of government inaction. And it's so unfortunate that so many people have to die for people to still not really care. There's obviously been, you know, action taken, and there's been so many powerful advocates across the country doing so much great work around gun violence prevention. But if we don't have legislators in office and administration that cares about children's safety over guns and the gun lobby, we're never going to be safe, and we're never going to be able to walk down the street and feel secure that we're not going to get shot and not make it home.
You know, anyone who experienced what you did as a freshman in high school could have just run away from all of this. You ran right towards it and took on this issue of gun violence. I was just reading a piece in the Brown Herald, a portrait of you, where you held you set up a lemonade stand. In 2 days, you raised $8,000. And then you went onto the national stage. I want to go back to 2022. What were you, 19 years old? When you spoke at the 18, White House. Yeah. 18. When you spoke at the White House along President Biden.
Ghost guns are untraceable, build-it-yourself firearms that look like a gun, shoot like a gun, and kill like a gun, but have not been regulated like a gun. I've also learned that as a student, I don't just have to worry about Spanish tests, but about my life. School shootings with ghost guns are on the rise. And the most lasting thing I've learned, other than the loss of friends or the shattering of my youth, is that nothing has relieved the pain in my heart like working to prevent more senseless shootings.
So, Mia, that's you when you were 18 at the White House talking about ghost guns. You keep saying every mass shooting is preventable. Explain, because so often the political leaders who are pro-gun say, do not politicize a mass shooting like Brown. It's just a tragedy. We offer our thoughts and prayers.
I mean, Brown is a tragedy. Every school shooting is a tragedy, and they should offer thoughts and prayers. But thoughts and prayers aren't enough, and thoughts and prayers don't bring back lives lost. They don't prevent more lives from being taken. We know that with more gun laws, gun crime and gun death goes down. Here in Rhode Island, we have some of the lowest gun crime in the entire United States, and that's evident of the great gun laws that exist. And unfortunately, we also know that when we have Republicans in office, gun crime goes up. We need people to see, you know, America is the only country that takes gun violence as this fact of life. And it makes no sense. It does not have to be. There's no world where walking down the street and being scared or sitting in a classroom and getting shot and killed is normal. This doesn't have to happen. Our politicians, we voted them into office, and their whole responsibility is to make sure that their people are safe and happy and healthy. None of those three things can exist when gun violence is constantly on the rise. Gun violence and gun death is the leading cause of death for children. That just does not make at all sense to me. And I feel like to most people, I've never heard someone say, I wish there was more gun violence. So why don't we do something about it?
Mia, you're sitting there in your brown sweatshirt. You have survived a shooting in your stomach. How are you physically doing right now? And what are your plans in this last minute we have? School's out now. They've canceled it. They're looking for the gunman. What are you going to do?
Yeah, physically and emotionally, a school shooting takes your whole life and flips it upside down. I am still healing from my physical injuries, and it will be a process that probably takes my entire life. Every single doctor's appointment, it is something else that has to come up, or even just if I'm getting something checked out that's completely irrelevant to what happened to me, they have to know I was shot in a school shooting. And with these, coming days, I'm going to Massachusetts, and then I'm flying home on Wednesday, which will be great to see my family. And then after winter break, I'm not entirely sure what campus will look like, what things will look like. Our student body needs
we have 10 seconds,
support
Mia.
and community more than anything else right now. And I just hope that we can all come together as much as possible.
Mia Tretta, I want to thank you so much for being with us. A junior at Brown University, longtime gun safety advocate. She herself survived a shooting from Saugus High School in Santa Clarita, California. All the best to you. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching.
All right, y'all. So we are moving towards a little bit over the 30-minute mark. But as you have seen here with these videos that I played for you, you now see, exactly what happened as far as this shooting that happened at Brown University. But I did want to read through a few historical facts about Brown University. And what's unfortunate that it's coming down to now, when we report on things or talk about things, just as a person in general, especially if you do it on, these platforms and stuff, you almost have to be restricted and limited to what you can say, what you think, what you feel, and what your thoughts are. And I have a lot of thoughts, always. Y'all know that. Y'all know I got a lot of mouth, and I always run it. But a lot of times when I do that, I get punished for doing so. But I'm only speaking on what I feel or what I think, right? And we're supposed to have this said freedom of speech, so where you can speak freely about the things that you feel and you think, okay? So I can read through, we can start from the top. I can read through the history of Brown University and the evolution, right, of this college. So let me see if I can get through this fast enough, and then we can get into this quick song break before we get into our next topic. But basically, during the 18th and mid-19th century is when Brown University was first established. In 1764, this was a college that was founded in the English colony, again, of Rhode Island and Providence plantations. It moved to its current location on College Hill in Providence in 1770. Now, there has been religious openness at this university. The original 1764 charter made Brown the first Ivy League school to accept students from all religious affiliations, a radical concept at the time reflecting the spirit of the founding colony. The name change of the school happened in 1804. The college was renamed Brown University in recognition of a significant gift from Nicholas Brown, a prominent Providence businessman and alumnus. Curriculum reform happened in the 1850s under President Francis Wayland. The curriculum was broadened to include modern language and applied sciences, setting an early precedent for flexibility. More major changes and transformation. In the late 19th century and the 1970s, these are a few things that happened, okay? There was admissions of women in co-education. So in 1891, women were first admitted into Brown University, leading the creation of the Women's College in Brown University, later named Pembroke College in 1928. In 1971, Pembroke College officially merged with the men's undergraduate school, making Brown a fully co-educational university. In 1969, Brown adopted the famous new curriculum based on a proposal written by undergraduates, Ira Magenzer and Elliot Maxwell. The reform eliminated all distribution requirements for classes and introduced a satisfactory no-credit grading option, giving students unprecedented freedom to shape their own education. In the late 19th century, Brown became an early doctoral granting institution, adding in master's and PhD programs in 1887. In 1975, the first modern medical degrees were awarded, establishing the Warring Alpert Medical School. Now, if we focus on some of the things a bit later, as far as the 1980s up until present times, when we speak about recent decades, Brown has focused on growth and professionalism and interdisciplinary programs, as well as diversity and inclusion. In the 21st century, there was a lot of institutional growth as well. In 2002, they launched a plan for academic enrichment, increasing faculty size and research capacity. In 2010s, they established the dedicated School of Engineering and the School of Public Health. In 2018, they launched the Brown Promise, replacing university loans with scholarship funds and financial aid packages for undergraduates. They have had a commitment to diversity and inclusion. There's been student activism, such as the 1968 walkout, fueled efforts to increase African American enrollment and financial aid to those students. They established the Center for Study of Race and Ethnicity in 1988 and the LGBTQ Resource Center in 2004. In 2016, they launched the Pathways to Diversity and Inclusion Action Plan. There's been campus development. They opened the Littman Performing Arts Center in 2023 and new resident halls reflecting a commitment to student well-being and the arts. So in a summary, Brown University has evolved from a small colonial college to a major research institution distinguished by its enduring commitment to academic freedom, student agency, via their open curriculums and inclusivity. So, as we can see, this is a college that has turned things around and has developed and elevated over time for very important purposes, right? For inclusivity, for financial, let's just say, abilities, right? Because people can get, or students can get, scholarships and student loans and aid to go to said college. They are open and they are acceptive when it comes to LGBTQ, when it comes to African Americans, and things of that nature. And so for me, when I see things like that and I speak out what comes up to my mind, which a lot of people don't like, I just question sometimes when we see that we're living now in a time where we are trying to be taken backwards in history, right? This could be, and I can't be sure. I'm just saying what I think and I feel. It's not factual. But when we see certain places and individuals and things of this nature being attacked in such the heinous ways that they are, is it just a coincidence, or could these things be happening because of the progression of the institution? And do we feel like individuals are trying to attack progressive individuals, progressive institutes, and progressive programs and organizations? We can't be sure. But when I see a lot of these things playing out based off of the history and the facts of how these institutions move and operate, sometimes it makes me wonder. So could this have just been something that's just randomly have happened from someone who may just not be all the way together, or just could be hateful? Perhaps. Could this be something that is happening that could be politically based? We can't be sure. We don't have the facts of any of that. But are we allowed to be individuals that think outside of the box and put 2 and 2 together and 1 and 1 together and come out with a sum? Sometimes these things make me wonder. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into a quick song break, and we'll be right back and get into our next topic. Now we're going to get into, after this song break, excuse me, what happened in Australia. But I'll be back, y'all. Let me play this song, and then we'll get into the next topic.
Across the ocean wide, where the promise of tomorrow feels like something that has died. The mind is fragile, bend beneath the weight of grief, and stability is shattered, stolen like a thief. For those who lost a loved one to the headlines and the fear, for those who feel the panic of a coming empty year. Your pain is not invisible, your struggle is profound. We stand upon this broken, hollow ground. When the world system trembles and the powerful just watch, and hope is just a whisper in the darkest city patch. Where do we turn when the foundation starts to crack? We look to the horizon, there is no turning back. The spirit whispers gently a truth you must recall. The deepest hope is the one that won't let you fall. We are the living proof, surviving every blow. The seed of grace God planted, where the bitter waters flow. You carry a light that cannot be extinguished by the tide. A deep anchor of grace planted far inside. So stand up tall, wounded one. Don't let the shadows win a battle for your bright tomorrow. Starts right where you've been. You have the strength to mend the fabric that was torn. Rise up, precious soul, for a brighter day is born. This fight is for the children breathing air they can't afford, for the land that's been neglected and the truth that's been ignored. We pray for peace demands. We challenge every wall and stand with those who have no voice so they don't have to crawl. The comfort of the church must spill into the street, and healing must be justice for the victims that we meet. The work is hard, the journey long, the future is unclear, but the kingdom is approaching, wiping every tear. We are the living proof, surviving every blow. The seed of grace God planted, where
where you've been. You have the strength to mend the fabric that was torn. Rise up, precious soul, for a brighter day is born.
The storm may rage, the earth may shake, we won't be overthrown. The hope you seek is not a feeling, it is the truth that you have known. Let your spirit be the witness, let your action be the proof that every single broken life deserves a second roof. We will build it with our faith, we will craft it with our hands. A new creation rising up in every nation, in every land. You are not alone. The anchor holds.
You have the power
To
to
rise,
back your mind.
take back your joy.
Take back your joy.
A brighter day is born. The fight is in your hands. Voice up, voice up, voice up, voice up, voice up, voice up, voice up.
All right, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and get into the next video. And I do want to warn you that there is a trigger warning when it comes to these reports on this video. So now we'll be moving over to Australia, where there also was a tragedy that happened. We do have some video footage here that we are going to go ahead and play. Unfortunately and sadly, reporting that within a mass shooting or pow-powing, whatever YouTube wants me to say, in Australia, there was a father and a son, that was unalived. Okay, a father and a son that unalived 15 people in this mass shooting. They were working together as a group, father and son, and 15 people lost their lives. So we're gonna go ahead and get into that video real quick. I'm gonna play that for y'all, the report, and this is from the news. Okay, so on this news report, I am playing this from NBC News. And so let's go ahead and get into this, y'all. Like I said, severe, extreme trigger warning. But these are the things that are happening in our world. I think we need to talk about them. So let's get into it, and we'll be right back.
Tonight in Australia, horror and heroism. Thousands running for their lives down Sydney's famous Bondi Beach. As police say, two shooters, a father and son, opened fire with long guns on a Jewish community event celebrating the first night of Hanukkah. At least 15 people were killed, including a 10-year-old girl and a Holocaust survivor, and around 40 more wounded in what authorities say was a targeted terrorist attack.
An act of evil anti-Semitism, terrorism that has struck the heart of our nation.
Of the two gunmen, the father was killed, police say. His 24-year-old son in custody in critical condition. 3 law enforcement sources tell NBC News the son's name is Naveed Akram.
I think what was the most shocking was how long the gunfire lasted. The shots were going on for ages, multiple minutes.
This is the moment a bystander leapt into action, wrestling what appears to be a shotgun from one of the attackers. His name is Ahmed Al-Ahmed, a father of 2 who owns a nearby fruit shop, according to Australia's Channel 7. His family says he was shot in the hand and arm.
We hope he will be fine. He's a hero. 100% he's a hero.
Tonight, his bravery is being hailed worldwide, including by the president.
And saved a lot of lives, so very brave person who's right now in the hospital.
Israel's prime minister accusing Australia's leader of being weak on anti-Semitism.
You let the disease spread, and the result is the horrific attacks on Jews we saw today.
Among the dead, Rabbi Eli Schlanger.
Joy and happiness, prosperity,
a representative of the Chabad Jewish organization, remembered for his commitment to spreading joy.
Raf is joining us now. And in Australia, Raf, gun deaths are relatively rare. This is a place with strict gun laws. And we're learning one of the shooters did have a gun license.
Yeah, Hallie, police are saying the father had legally purchased 6 guns. They found some of them at the crime scene. Others they recovered during a raid at the shooter's family home. Police also saying they disarmed 2 rudimentary bombs they found in a car parked at the scene of the shooting. Hallie.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.
All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get into this second video now. Let me go ahead and get this up on the screen for you guys. So apparently they do have a suspect in custody, or that they, alleged of the shooting. So, or however it is, you have to report and say, this is really difficult for me. I'm going to be very honest. This is very, very difficult for me to report on things this way. When it's come down to, the YouTube guidelines and all of the things that my channels have been through, when it comes to talking about things that I believe are extremely important for us to talk about, reports that are news reports based off of things that we can cover when it comes to news. That fall under the Copyright Act and Section 107. And it's never things that I like to bring to my platform to trigger people. I do say there's a trigger warning. It is unfortunate that some of these things can be triggering, but these are things that are happening not just in my country, but, worldwide, okay? And I talk about it, and I speak about it, and I report on it the way that I do. I'm just keeping it real and honest. But it's really hard because now you have to jump through so many hoops, talk a certain type of way, report a certain type of way, or just not talk about it at all. It's what I'm really thinking, individuals want is for you to not talk about it. And so I think these are things that need to be talked about and brought to the forefront and the attention of us as the people, so we can see what's going on in our world here. Not just in the country that I live in, but worldwide. There is a lot happening all the time, and it is a lot of heinous things, heinous crimes being committed, a lot of evil, a lot of violence, and I think it all needs to be put to a stop. This is what I think. This is my personal feelings and thoughts, and if I talk too much about those things, it seems like I get attacked for it. So I don't know where to go, here nor there. If y'all have thoughts and feelings and emotions as well, and you talk about these things as well, then, I don't understand where we at right now, where we can't openly talk amongst ourselves, especially on social media platforms, about these things that are happening, but they want you to do it a certain type of way. And y'all know I'm not the best at that. So I'm always constantly in trouble for something. But this is what's happening in our world. These are how people are being affected, okay? And it's not right and it's not fair, no matter where it is, all over this big, beautiful globe. It doesn't matter. I can speak about things that's going on in the United States. I can speak about things that's going on in other countries as well. It seems like there's just a lot of mess that's happening all over the world right now. A lot of people are dealing with a lot. Okay, these are serious things. But anyway, let's get into the video. I won't keep ranting along. Let me go ahead and just play it for y'all so you can hear it for yourself. But like I said, fair use, trigger warning, and all of this falls under Copyright 107 clause to report the news. This report is coming from ABC. So let's get into it.
Beachgoers running for their lives during the terror attack at Australia's famed Bondi Beach.
And then I heard bang, 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 bang. 3 minutes of gunfire, didn't stop.
The harrowing moments unfolding Sunday evening. as the crowd gathered to celebrate the first night of Hanukkah. The festivities coming to a halt as a pair of gunmen opened fire. The attackers seen here, police identifying them as a 50-year-old father and 24-year-old son. Video showing one gunman aiming at the crowd of more than 1,000 people from this footbridge. Officials say at least 15 people were killed and at least 40 others, including children and senior citizens, injured. Among those killed, Rabbi Eli Schlanger, who served as rabbi and chaplain to the Bondi community for 18 years, and Holocaust survivor Alex Klaitman. His daughter telling ABC News he was killed while trying to protect his wife. Mourners coming out Monday to lay flowers and pay tribute to the victims. Multiple city blocks appear frozen in time. There are dozens of vehicles and rental bikes abandoned behind the police tape. Amid the sheer chaos, a moment of bravery. A bystander rushing one of the gunmen from behind, managing to pry the gun from his hands before turning it on the suspect. The injured hero identified as Ahmed Al-Ahmed.
We saw like maybe six bodies like falling down. The first guy got a lot of people actually, and the second guy on the bridge, he had like a sniper, so he's like more precise in his shooting.
Ahmed now recovering at a local hospital after being shot twice.
That man is a genuine hero, and I've got no doubt that there are many, many people alive tonight as a result of his bravery.
First responders killing one of the gunmen at the scene. The other alleged gunman is in critical condition.
And tributes are pouring in from all over the world. And here in Australia, take a look. A menorah was projected on the Sydney Opera House to honor the victims. As for the suspects, authorities say one of them was a licensed gun owner with 6 firearms, but they have not yet revealed a motive. Guys.
We'll find that out ahead, but this is thinking of everyone. It's been a very, very, very difficult weekend and morning. Thank you so much for being there for us, Faith.
When someone fails to pay their property taxes, the government actually creates certificates on that debt. You can buy that debt.
Is Australia's worst mass shooting in nearly 30 years after 15 people died, including a 10-year-old girl, during celebrations for a Jewish festival in Sydney. 40 others remain in hospital. Now, it happened at Bondi Beach at a gathering marking the beginning of Hanukkah. Police say it was a terrorist attack. Tonight, we have a clearer picture of what happened from video footage filmed by bystanders and verified by the BBC. It shows 2 gunmen firing indiscriminately from a small bridge towards a park and beach area. One of the men then leaves but keeps firing. As the violence continues, a bystander tackles the gunman, grabbing his weapon. He's now been hailed a hero and named locally as Ahmed Al-Ahmed. Other bystanders step in to help. Well, one of the gunmen was later killed, and the second suspect is now in a critical condition in hospital. We'll bring you reaction from around the world, including here in the UK. But first, Katie Watson has our top story tonight from Bondi Beach. Her report contains some distressing scenes.
Horror on Bondi, an unimaginable scene on Australia's most famous beach. People running, but from what? At this point, few understood what was unfolding.
I went to the window and I just saw a guy in a white car on top of it, letting off shots going off. And then there was an older lady who was on the right-hand side of the pathway who was put down. So I saw her go down, and I saw a guy on the left-hand side go down.
And it was like a grandma. She was bleeding a lot. And then like a lot of people, they've been crying. Some people, they became white as well. And yeah, it felt very sad for the Jewish community because it was like a party for them.
The 2 gunmen were father and son, indiscriminately targeting what was meant to be a family celebration of Hanukkah. Some 1,000 people enjoying the Jewish festival of lights in a small park overlooking the water. After a long standoff with police, the father was shot dead. His son, seriously injured. He's been named by local media as 24-year-old Naveed Akram from Bonnyrigg in Sydney's southwest. The weapons used in the shooting were licensed to the older gunman.
We are satisfied that we have 6 firearms from the scene yesterday, but also as a result of the search run at the Campsie address. Ballistics and forensic investigation will determine this morning that those 6 firearms are the 6 that were licensed to that man, but also that they were used in the offence yesterday at Bondi.
These are confronting scenes in a country that prides itself on its low rates of violent crime. A sunny Sunday at the beach turned into a nightmare. Local Bondi residents desperately trying to save people's lives. Victims as young as 10, as old as 87. Among those who died, London-born Rabbi Eli Schlanger, a father of 5 who worked at a Jewish cultural centre in Bondi.
What we saw yesterday was an act of pure evil, an act of anti-Semitism, an act of terrorism on our shores in an iconic Australian location, Bondi Beach, that is associated with joy, associated with families gathering, associated with celebrations.
Oh! Most people ran when the shots rang out. This man didn't, and he's been hailed a hero. Named locally as Ahmed Al-Ahmed, he made the brave decision to pounce on the gunman from behind, wrestling the weapon off him and making it clear to police he had nothing to do with the 2 men. Then, another bystander, showing his fury at what had just happened.
Thank you to innocent.
All right, so it plugs it in. Perfect. We'll start the car. I need a tap to begin the scan. Now, my $2,000 scan tool said it was a catalytic converter.
Innocent bystanders and civilians who stood up, risked their own lives to save other people's lives. This is a terrible, wanton act of destructive violence, but there are still amazing people that we have in Australia, and they showed their true colours last night.
Throughout the night, police worked hard to secure the scene. An explosive device was removed from a car thought to be one of the gunmen's. That is no longer a threat.
There were 2 improvised explosive devices found at the scene. They were taken by our rescue and bomb disposal unit. They were found to be active devices, so they were taken back and rendered safe by our police who do a professional job.
But this is a country in shock. Mass shootings rarely happen here, and in Bondi too, a beach that defines Sydney, this laid-back and safe city that people are so proud of. Australians are in utter disbelief something like this has happened. Katie Watson, BBC News in Bondi.
We'll have more from Katie in a moment, but much of the attack was filmed by onlookers and reveals a sequence of horrifying events. Joe Inwood's report contains some distressing scenes.
This is the earliest footage we have of the gunman. It's not clear how soon after the attack started they began filming, but it captures the rest of the event. It takes place on Campbell Parade at the northern end of Bondi Beach. Both men are standing on this bridge, firing down into this area of parkland where the Hanukkah festival was taking place. About 30 seconds after this footage starts, one of the men, the one in white trousers, moves off the bridge to take up a position around here, from where he can fire at point-blank range at the crowds. 2 minutes and 50 seconds after the video begins, we have the extraordinary moment when a passerby decides to tackle him.
Oh!
He disarms him and gets him to back off, before eventually laying down the weapon and taking cover behind the tree. 60 seconds after he was disarmed, the man in white trousers is back on the bridge and firing with a different weapon. We then see the moment, 30 seconds after that, when he is shot. The second man, the one in black trousers, continues firing in both directions for another minute and a half before he too is shot.
Yeah! Yeah, they got him.
At this point, we see a couple of people who appear to be members of the public approach them. Another shot is then fired. It's not clear where from, but it seems to be aimed at the man who has just arrived. You hear the person filming shout, "Wow, stop, no, stop," presumably concerned someone who was trying to help may be confused as an attacker. Eventually, 7.5 minutes after this footage began, police make it onto the bridge, where they find one attacker dead and another critically wounded.
Joe Inwood reporting there. Let's rejoin Katie at Bondi Beach. Have police, Katie, been saying any more about what they knew about the suspects?
Yeah, well, on Sunday evening, the police said that one of the gunmen was known, but not from an immediate threat perspective. And they updated that earlier today, saying that the older gunman did have a firearms license for several years, but there were no incidents, and it was all registered. But no doubt they are going through the run-up to this attack, the worst in 30 years. Here in Australia. And the mood here, you can see behind me the bridge where the attack took place. It's all cordoned off. People have been laying flowers this morning. There's a school opposite that has closed. The community here is absolutely reeling. They cannot believe something like this could have happened here in Bondi.
All right, Katie, thank you. Katie Watson there at Bondi Beach. Well, there's been reaction from around the world to events in Sydney. Donald Trump described the attack as purely anti-Semitic. King Charles said both he and the Queen are appalled and saddened. And Sir Keir Starmer says police here will increase patrols around synagogues and in Jewish communities as Hanukkah celebrations continue. The family of the British-born rabbi who died in the attack, Eli Schlanger, describe him as a caring man who loved helping people. Here's Lucy Manning.
The message of Hanukkah is that there is light even in the darkest of times. So in London and across the UK, the Jewish Festival of Lights was celebrated amidst the darkness of a deadly anti-Semitic attack. Just last Hanukkah, London-born Rabbi Eli Schlanger was celebrating Hanukkah in his own joyful way. The best response to anti-Semitism, he said. His British family told the BBC people should spread light in his memory.
Eli was a really wonderful, warm, caring, vivacious, energetic, outgoing guy who loved people, loved doing good, and loved caring for other people. I know this is what Eli would be saying. Go and do good things.
Did you know you could be entitled to a 5- or 6-figure payout if you suffered a serious injury at work, like a broken bone, torn tendon, or needed?
In North London and at other Hanukkah events, there was an increased police presence. Hani went to school with Rabbi Schlanger.
He was a father. He had a 2-month-old baby, 40 years old, in the prime of his life, taken by cold murderers.
How are the community feeling on the first night of Hanukkah?
We are reeling in pain, but we are going around, carrying on to make the world a bigger and better place, bringing acts of goodness, acts of light.
The Jewish community is still determined to celebrate its festivals, but there is some increasing fear with rising anti-Semitism. 3 Jewish festivals and 3 deadly attacks. Hanukkah in Bondi Beach, Yom Kippur 2 months ago in Manchester, and Simchat Torah in Israel on October the 7th.
As the Prime Minister lit Hanukkah candles with his wife, who is Jewish, he said in a social media post that the anti-Semitic terrorist attack against Jewish families was sickening. Rabbi Schlanger had, like many Jews and the Israeli government, criticised the Australian government's response to rising violent attacks against the community there.
Your government did nothing to stop the spread of anti-Semitism in Australia. You did nothing to curb the cancer cells that were growing inside your country. You took no action. You let the disease spread. And the result is the horrific attacks on Jews we saw today.
President Trump told the Jewish world they should still celebrate Hanukkah proudly.
But to Australia and the Prime Minister, to everybody that we know so well, we get along with so well, we have a great relationship. That's a terrible situation going on over there. Think of that.
Hanukkah is the story of the survival of the Jewish religion. And yet, on the first day of this festival, people were again murdered. just because they were Jews. Lucy Manning, BBC News.
Okay, y'all, so we're going to be moving along. We're going to get into, and this is going to be because we're moving towards the 2-hour mark. One of the last reports that I want to show. But based off of that previous one, I don't really know, like, I can't be sure, you know, because as soon as you misspeak, child, they're ready to come for you. But I can't really be sure what is all of this violence about. Like, we're hearing reports of what people are saying they think it's about. We're hearing reports of what the facts are, you know, what it was. Individuals that could have been Jewish individuals that were celebrating and having a moment in a public space for the religion or the, let's just say, holiday that they celebrate, like Hanukkah. We know that Hanukkah is connected to Jewish people and Jewish individuals. That's the holiday that they celebrate. And so for something to be done around that time when they're in celebratory mode and not messing with anybody or hurting or harming anyone, what can we deduce? This is the thing, like, for me, that I have a problem with when it comes to, like, speaking out or reporting on some of these things. It almost gives, like, you can't speak about what the obvious could possibly be, like what you think, because they think that you're putting a title on something that you're not. What will we deduce from this? What do you take from that? Why would some individual come and attack those people when they know that they're celebrating and just out there having a good time on the beach, and it happens to be Hanukkah, and majority of people who celebrate Hanukkah could be Jewish people? What are we supposed to think? What are we supposed to take from these things? Are we supposed to be dumb and just not act like we can put 2 and 2 together and figure out what the cause is? We can't be sure, and I'm not making any allegations that I know for sure what and why. However, it's never okay. Any of these things happening is not okay. But what is the underlying reason for these things happening that we can take from this? You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing for me. And then when you speak on it or you have a question about it, you can't even say those things. They think that now you're a certain type of way, you think a certain type of way. What are we supposed to think and take from this? I don't know. Was just a regular act of crime? Or do you think that these people practicing and celebrating the way they celebrate were targeted for a purpose when it comes to this? What are we supposed to think? But anyway, we're going to move on. So if y'all know who Rob Reiner is, there's been a tragedy when it comes to him and his wife. They're no longer with us. And apparently they're saying that their child is the one who is now in question or could be a possible suspect as to being the individual who took them away from us. So let's go ahead and get into that video next, y'all. And then after that, we're going to wrap this up. Let me go ahead and put this video up on the screen for y'all so y'all can see the reports. Yeah, this is Rob Reiner. And him and his wife were found no longer with us. A poke situation that they are now claiming and have taken into custody their son for doing. So let's get into that report real quick, y'all. Let me skip these ads and then I'll play that for y'all in just a moment. Okay, skip. Hold on, here we go. We're about to get into it. Let me put this up for y'all to see and hear for yourselves. And again, this is news reportings. So this should be covered and cleared under the Copyright 107 Act for us to be able to bring forth news reportings and educational materials. This is from ABC News. So let me go ahead and full screen that. Put that up on the screen. Let's hit play. And I'll be right back after
Rob
this.
Reiner's son is now in custody after the murders of the actor and director and his wife, Michelle. Sources tell ABC News the two were found stabbed to death in their Los Angeles home overnight. Now officials are expected to give an update on the investigation later today. Our Alex Stone has the latest on that. We're going to get to Alex in a bit. But first, I want to go back to Brad Garrett. Brad, for your reaction here, we're just learning right now, breaking news, that Nick Reiner is in custody. What do you make of that?
So, do adult children kill their parents? Of course they do. We don't know that is the case here. But it's one thing you have to look at. Now, who was last at the house? Does Rob Reiner have security? Does he have CCTV? Are there phone records that place his son at the house? And what was their relationship? Who knows what's accurate? But the two of them even did a movie years ago about his son's addiction and the issue that has played. I could name off a number of homicides where adult children that had addiction problems harmed their parents. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. So all of those things I just mentioned, can LAPD put the son at this location? I'm really curious to know who notified emergency services and or the police. Does the son have anything to do with that? And so it's like every other case. Can you put the son at the scene? We don't know how they died, but all that's important to see if the son is a viable suspect.
And this all happened at their home in Los Angeles. Our Trevor Alt is there right now. Trevor, what are you learning?
Well, this arrest does not necessarily come as a surprise based on the rumors and some of the reports that we had been hearing, but LAPD had been very tight-lipped yesterday when they addressed the media, Diane. So this is certainly a very big development that Nick Reiner is in custody. Now, the LAPD has not clarified what charges he may be facing, or even that it is 100% certain tied to what appears to be a pretty grisly double murder at the home here that's just on the left. We watched this morning as the medical examiner showed up here on the scene. They have since cleared it. They had several blocks all around that were blocked off while that investigation was ongoing. They have since removed all of that caution tape, so we could go right up to the gate of Rob Reiner's home, and you can see signs for a security system here. Now, how that played out in terms of how the authorities were notified of this, we're not 100% sure. We know that LAPD officers arrived here around 3:30 in the afternoon yesterday, and they were arriving because they were conducting a death investigation. Now, we've been waiting on some more details here. We know that the Associated Press had reported that a source with the LAPD had said that officers were questioning a family member. It is highly possible that that was Nick Reiner, who has now been charged here. But of course, there are still many unanswered questions on a really devastating story for a lot of people. Rob Reiner, of course, one of the most highly regarded directors all around the world, made so many iconic films. Michelle Singer, a photographer in her own right. They were extremely well loved around the world for their work, and also here in the neighborhood here in Brentwood, known to frequently have gatherings, and other members of their family lived in the homes in the neighborhood as well. So certainly a devastating twist. This was something where we were waiting on police to give us some information. I expect now we will probably get some clarity on those charges for Nick Reiner later today. It's not 100% clear when the LAPD will address the media, but they had been planning on an update already. So I do think we will get some details later on today.
And Trevor, we're hearing now there's a $4 million bond in his case. I want to pull a little bit more on the community. You talked about how they are beloved there. I understand his daughter lives right across the street with her kids. They were known to throw a lot of parties. How are people there reacting?
Well, from what we've seen, I mean, this is a neighborhood that a lot of celebrities live here. And of course, a lot of celebrities who have worked directly with Rob Reiner, Diane. And so among them, we know yesterday, after the authorities were already on the scene, Larry David showed up here, Billy Crystal showed up here, and one of our reporters from our local affiliate, KABC, said it looked like Billy Crystal was devastated, almost as if he was on the verge of tears. Of course, Billy Crystal and Rob Reiner worked together on one of their most beloved films, When Harry Met Sally. I would imagine you are going to continue to see an outpouring of devastation from people, not just here in Brentwood, but people who had worked with Rob Reiner going back decades. I mean, this is a person who's been famous since the 1970s, so more than 50 years. And of course, the people of Brentwood, it is certainly an upper class community. These are extremely nice homes. There are very prominent security system logos outside of basically every driveway here. It's not necessarily a neighborhood that would say you might be covering a double murder, which probably makes it all the more shocking for people. We continue to see people in patrol vehicles for security systems, not even law enforcement, just security workers that are patrolling this neighborhood here too. And so for this to happen in such a neighborhood is especially shocking. But really any kind of double murder like this, especially when it does appear that perhaps the son of the victims may be in custody, responsible for these double murders. Now, we don't know that 100% for sure, but this is shocking top to bottom.
It sure is. Brad, what comes next in this investigation?
So what has the son said? Was the son involved in the 911 call? I'll tell you, Diane, that's not uncommon for adult children who kill their parents to turn around and report and infect themselves to 911. So we'll see if that is there. Has he said, the son, has he said anything about the issues with his parents, and maybe even has given them a statement? I mean, it tells you volumes because the bond is so high at $4 million. So I think that's where this case is going in that regard. But going back to your question, what do they have in addition to maybe a statement from the son, to the TikTok of everything that went on at this location? Where did the knife, it's been reported there was a knife involved. I don't know if that's true. Let's just say it's true. Where did it come from? Was it one from the house? Was it one that the suspect brought? Again, trying to put, if it's the son, you put him in the house. Now, I'm sure he's been in the house a number of times, but the point being, was he in the house when this occurred? It's all of those things tying a suspect through motive, through a weapon, through a location, through cell phones, etc. All of that, LAPD and the district attorney in Los Angeles are pulling together as we speak.
Brad Garrett, Trevor Alt, thank you both.
The LAPD has arrested Nick Reiner for the murder of his parents, Rob and Michele Reiner. The 32-year-old, who has struggled with drug abuse, been public about it, is being held right now on $4 million bail. Joining us, MS Now reporter David Noriega, who's outside the Reiners' home in Brentwood. Also with us, Deadline Hollywood executive editor Dominic Patton. David, first off, what do we know so far?
Katie, there are still a lot of questions yet to be answered, the main one being motive here. Nick Reiner, the Reiner's son, as you pointed out, 32 years old, has been arrested. LAPD Chief McDonnell said that he was, in his words, booked for murder, that the LAPD's robbery homicide division is handling the case. However, we haven't actually seen any court records related to this, so he hasn't actually been charged yet in court. That is where we expect to see more details about, what exactly happened in this house behind me yesterday. We know that this happened yesterday afternoon. It was around 3:38 p.m. that somebody called for the authorities. That is when they found the bodies of Rob and Michele Reiner. As you pointed out, Katie, Nick Reiner, their son, has been public over the years about his struggles with addiction. He has been in and out of rehab, in and out of homelessness. But critically, it's important to be careful here, Katie. We don't actually know whether that had anything to do with what is alleged to have happened here yesterday. These are some of the key pieces of information that are missing, that a lot of people are anxiously waiting for, because Rob Reiner in particular was such a beloved figure in this city, in this town, in this industry. A lot of people are desperate to know why something like this could have happened.
Dominic, I mean, I know that this has been shocking for pretty much everybody, for friends, for colleagues. I mean, he's been on this show a few times, and it was, shocking for anybody who's dealt with him in a political context, which a lot of us have. How is the town trying to come to terms with not only the murder, but the fact that the son was arrested for it?
Well, Katie, I mean, as an Angelina as well, as you said, Rob Reiner is beloved in this town. I mean, I'll speak for myself, and I think I can speak for almost the shock, absolute shock and horror. And of course, this happened on the first night of Hanukkah. So a lot of confusion around this, a lot of confusion. And as you guys talked about, a lot of people searching for more information. I mean, we've seen almost every human being who ever worked with Rob Reiner and many others, including Barack Obama. Not the greatest response from Donald Trump. In fact, kind of soulless, to be honest, and horrible. But otherwise, people have just been reacting with a deep sense of loss and shock. I mean, it is a death of someone, a man who was 78 years old, an older gentleman, a death that would be just for the fact that he was Carl Reiner's son, just for the fact he was on All in the Family. And then you add all the movies from All the President's Men, The Princess Bride, Harry Met Sally, go on and on and on and on across the spectrum. People, for instance, who many consider on a conservative, like James Woods, who worked with him, people like John Cusack, who many consider a very progressive individual. They're all coming together in this appreciation of this terrible loss.
Yeah, I mean, there is just universal horror, near universal horror, because the president, as you mentioned, blamed his death on him being crazy about Donald Trump. He said he had Trump derangement syndrome, and that's why he was killed. He's getting a lot of blowback even from a lot of Republicans today. Can you tell me a little bit more about Rob and his wife, Michele, how they met and what they were like together as a couple in Los Angeles?
Well, they actually met. I mean, Rob Reiner was previously married to Penny Marshall. They actually met on the set of one of Rob's films in 1989, I believe. And they had 3 children, of which Nick, I believe, is the middle one. And they had an adopted daughter from Rob's first marriage to Penny Marshall, Tracy. They were seen as a very loving, open, very approachable couple. I once had Rob Reiner come up to me at an event, and he kind of lambasted me a little bit for something I wrote that was critical of certain members of the Democratic Party. Won't go into it now. But then I kind of joked back and forth with him, and then I kind of said, look, there's a serious issue here. And this was a serious man. I mean, he was just recently at a Democratic National Committee event here in LA. People talked about sitting next to him and chatting with him, very politically active. Of course, he was politically active in terms of education and many other things. He created 5 Forward here in California. So he was seen as a man about town, but he was also seen as, and I think this is very important, as the couple. Because I think of his history on All in the Family, one of the great television shows of all time, undoubtedly, I think a lot of actors saw him as an actor's director. He understood what they went through. He understood their process. He understood that. And so working with them, there was a great deal of empathy and I think a great deal of warmth. And I think that is the general consensus of Rob and Michele Reiner. People of great empathy and great warmth, and a terrible loss.
Yeah, so David, you're in Brentwood. I grew up there. How's the community reacting to this? They are no strangers to having masses of reporters on the doorstep of a horrible murder.
Right, Katie. I'm assuming you're referring to the O.J. Simpson case from years ago. That this is something that this neighborhood unfortunately has witnessed before. People are mostly steering clear of this block. It is swarming with reporters, truly. It's been a while since I've been at a scene with this number of crews and cameras and reporters out here. A couple of people have come up to the house and left flowers, left candles, but by and large, the people in this neighborhood are kind of steering clear. When you approach them and try and talk to them politely, they, generally speaking, don't want to engage. I overheard one woman talking on her phone, just simply saying, "It's so sad," which, I couldn't help but think that summarizes the way a lot of people are feeling, whether they had some kind of connection with the Reiner family or not. It really is shocking, especially when you consider, as Dominic pointed out, just this person's character, the reputation that he had, the nature of his work, how sort of widely, universally beloved it was, uncomplicatedly and universally beloved it was. There is a pretty palpable sense of just shock and sadness in this neighborhood, but just generally in this town, Katie.
And if it was a different scenario, if it was, died of a disease or even a car crash, you would imagine you would see a lot of friends, a lot of actors. There'd be just a lot of on-camera tributes to Rob Reiner. But the ugly nature of what happened and who was involved has, I think, been very disturbing, very chilling. And so we haven't seen what we will undoubtedly see, but the outpouring of love and support with on-camera tributes and memories from the friends, people whose lives that he disturbing moment. Dominic, can you give me a little bit more about what we know of the relationship Rob Reiner had with his son Nick? I know they did a movie together.
Yes, they did a movie together, but I think perhaps more recently, as was pointed out earlier, Nick Reiner was very open to some degree about his struggles with addiction, about some of his mental health struggles. We do know that Nick had recently moved back into his parents' home, so he was there. Again, a lot of details are not yet revealed. We do know that obviously right now he's being held by the police, and eventually that case will, things go as one assumes, will be presented to the LA County District Attorney's Office, who will then have to make a determination, as they call for their consideration. We'll have to make a determination about what charges will go forward, be it a double homicide or what have you. I'm sure there's going to be some extenuating circumstances that are going to have to be taken into account. But by all stretches, I mean,
Okay, guys, I'm going to end it there. Let me just holler at you first. This is Mama Warrior, as you know. We're a team. She had to go with the baby, so I'm going to try to take us out of here. Unfortunately, yes, we've heard about 3 horrific, chaotic incidents again. It seems as though every day there is something else chaotic and horrific that goes on. This especially when it comes down to a child and their parents. This is very sad. This is a very horrible event. We have heard of it before. It has happened before, but it's crazy. It's just crazy. And I'm pretty sure all our hearts go out to the family and the friends of the Reiners, and praying for the son, for his life is now in shackles because of what he's done. So yeah, it's a lot of horrific areas here. So what we're going to do is, this live's been going quite a while. I'm going to take you out with a song, and then we're going to do an outro, and we're going to end this live, and we will be back with some updates on some of these issues, the chaotic things that have happened. We will be back with an update. So for now, we're going to end this. I want to thank you all for coming, and thank you all for those in the bushes, or if you're going to do this on replay, please catch it. A little sad, a little triggering, but you'll be up to date on all these chaotic things and tragedies and things that are taking place among all the other chaos we got going on in the United States of America. Because of this administration. Not that saying the administration had anything to do with this, but along with all that, it's just all like a big boiling pot right here. And spiritually, I still like to say and want to say and believe and have faith that God is moving. It may not seem like it today. You may look at these headlines and say, okay, you're saying God's moving. Where's he moving to? But he is moving. He's going to break these chains. He's going to break all this chaos and stuff that we have going on. It will come to an end. We just have to be have faith, keep praying and holding on. Speedily, we'd like to see all this go away in one day. But reality tells us that we're not going to see this go away in one day. But we are going to see all this go away. We're going to see this world clean up. We're going to see a better world. I believe and have faith in God that we will see that. We will see that. Some of us will be here and some of us will have gone. But I know that this will get better. Things will get better. And like I said, my love and heartfelt sympathy goes out to the Reiner family and friends at a terrible, terrible, horrific time like this. I do pray for them and ask God for restoring and healing for that family. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this. Let's find a song to go out with, something innovative, and we're going to just go on out. I think we'll just go out with our outro, and we'll come back for another live, okay? As I said, love you all, bless you all. I don't say goodbye, I say see you later, and we will be back. So I'm ending this now.
You tuned into the right place. welcome to the rain. Golden Queen, H2.0. Let's get it. You're looking for a diamond, found a treasure in the rough. Tired of all the noise, cause you finally had enough. I'm here to build a movement on a mission for the nation. Dropping gems of knowledge, killing all the hesitation. We fighting for the truth, yeah, we fighting for what's right. Building unity and shining up a brand new light. It's a variety channel, but the vision's crystal clear. Pushing us all forward, conquering the doubt and fear. Yo, welcome to the Queendom, H2.0 on your screen. Where the content's real and smart and funny in between. This is more than just a stream, it's a platform for the change. Time to elevate the game and rearrange. So if you're ready for a vibe that you can feel and trust, joining in the movement is a definite must. This ain't just another channel talking smack behind the screen. It's a spotlight for the creators building up of the scene. Spreading radical love, that's the message in the code. Helping everybody carry up a heavy load. From social justice issues to the laughter that we need. Planting seeds of progress, watch them grow from just a seed. This is authentic, this is raw, this is everything you saw. Welcome to the battle that is truly being fought. Oh, so come with your respect and see the real effect. Cause I protect my own right here on the throne. Don't make me unleash the dragon. You've been warned. Yeah. Don't make me unleash the dragon. You've been warned. Yeah. Don't make me unleash the dragon, you've been warned. Yeah. Golden Queen H2.0. The movement starts now. Go ahead. Hit subscribe, ring that notification bell. You don't want to miss a thing. Welcome to the family.